Hello, and welcome to What to Expect and Plan for Hybrid Learning at Ridgeline Middle School. I am Mr. Curry, principal at Ridgeline, and I appreciate you guys watching this video. The first 5 minutes of this video is really more for parents, and then after that will be more student details. But of course, parents are welcome to watch that as well to kind of view what students will go over. Next week, around the February 22nd, 23rd, parents of students who are coming in person will receive a letter with more details about hybrid. Also that week, parents of students who are 100% remote will receive communication about what hybrid will look like for them as well. So we're excited to have students back in the classroom. We've been doing a lot of planning. Safety is of the utmost importance. So we're going to talk about that, and let's get started. So what to expect and plan for hybrid learning before coming into the building. There will be two cohorts. So about half of the students will be in the building at a time. So about 250 students in the building at a time. So cohort A will attend in person on Monday and Tuesday and then access Zoom lessons from home on Thursday and Friday. Cohorts B will come in person on Thursdays and Fridays and then access Zoom classes from home on Monday and Tuesday. And then Wednesday will be the usual that it's been even in distance learning, which is the office hours day to access help from teachers, and an asynchronous lesson, meaning just not live. So that will remain the same. 100% remote students will attend classes 4 days a week. As they do now, it will look very similar. They may be asked to stay on so that they're getting that additional time as well that the in-person students are getting. It's important to bring Chromebooks and chargers to school every day. That's one of the most important things because you'll be using that in classes. You want to make sure you have enough power, your Chromebook is charged up. You also need to make sure you have your face covering or mask every day and that it's snug under your chin and over your nose. And of course, a record of completed health attestation by the parent. That's the wellness screening that you see when you log into Skyward. You get that green check, and so we'll talk more about that in a second. Also, we will have headphones available for students, for all students, but a lot of them do not have mics. So if you do have a headphone with a mic, that is preferred, and we would ask that you bring that to school, your own set of headphones. But we do have headphones without mics that are available. It just can be a little bit more difficult with the ambient noise. A whiteboard and marker, a lot of students picked that up when we had distribution earlier this year. If you haven't picked that up, we can have a whiteboard for you to use. If you have one, please bring that to school. And the eraser for the whiteboard. A water bottle is important because we don't have our water fountains will be closed for safety reasons, but we do have we have water bottle refill stations that students will be able to use. We will assign students a planner, and we want students to bring the planner every day. We also suggest that students bring a small bottle of hand sanitizer and an extra face covering in case they lose theirs or in case it breaks. We will have face coverings available for students as well, but it's always good for them to have an extra one so they can just go right into their bag and get it. When you're choosing mask, think about the masks that are 2 layers that completely cover your nose and mouth, that fits snugly on all parts of your face and don't have gaps. And then the nose wire is nice so that it's not sliding down. Avoid fabrics that are only single layer or hard to breathe in, or that have the exhalation valves, or that are intended for healthcare workers. It's not necessary for you to have an N95 mask. Also, the gaiters, those are not really recommended because they can be open, but if they are closed, under the chin, or they tied under the chin, or they're folded up under the chin, and they're over the nose, then they still work, but we would suggest a mask that fits more snugly around the face. And of course, no masks that are just face shields without a mask underneath. You can wear a face shield, but you would still need to have a mask underneath. The ways to wear a mask, not under your neck, not exposing the nose, but covering the nose and fitting snugly underneath the chin will be the way for students to wear their mask every day. Parents, when they log into Skyward, will see a wellness screening or health attestation check in Skyward. Parents will need to make sure that they answer no to both questions, that there are no symptoms, and that none of those statements are true, so that we can assure that students are healthy and ready to come to school every day. We will show you or point you to a resource where you can show students how to download the Skyward app on their phone, or you yourself as parents can download the Skyward app on your phones. But students will be able to show their green check that they've passed the attestation, the wellness screening through Skyward, or that you've attested for them through Skyward, be able to show that on their phones and kind of come right in as we check their names and the dates. If they don't have that on their phones, but they've done the attestation, we will have a record of that on a list. They just may have to kind of wait and socially distance line as we get those students in and check those students off. It'll be much easier if students are able to download the Skyward app on their phone and show that as they are walking in. So that's what we're looking for, is that green check. On our website, on the RMS website, you can access a video that shows you how to download the Skyward app and shows you how to do the wellness screening on the Skyward app, and then shows you how to have your student be able to display that. You could pause the video at this point and write down that YouTube link, but you could also just go on our website and find it there and be able to view it there at the link on the website. This is coming into the building every morning. I know we have some sixth grade families or some new families who haven't brought their students to school for drop-off yet. But if you do, you're coming in from the 507 side, Highway 507 side in the front of the school. You're going to take a right and come all the way around for the drop-off and drop students off right there, and then you can go back out the same way. We are going to have 8th graders enter the main gym and 6th and 7th graders enter the commons area. So if you're an 8th grader, enter the main gym, 6th and 7th graders enter the commons area. If you ride the bus, you're not going to go directly into the commons like you did last year or as we've normally done. You'll get off the bus. The bus will drop you off a little further down between the main gym and the auxiliary gym, the aux gym. And so you'll go down that path and you'll see there's a little covered walkway here. And if you're an 8th grader, you'll take a left and go to the main gym. If you're a 6th or 7th grader, you'll take a right and go and enter the commons. There'll be supervisors there ready to check your attestation and allow you into the building if you've passed your attestation. I want to say a thank you to all parents for just your support during distance learning. I know this has not been easy on families, on parents, on students, but students and parents have done a great job, and we really appreciate your support as we really try to provide the best possible distance learning experience, but we are excited about moving into hybrid. At this point, parents can pause the video. You will receive next week, which is the week of February 22nd, you will receive a letter and communication with more details about the hybrid model and hybrid learning. So please feel free to stop the video at this point. But we're going to continue with some details that we'll show to students also next week in classes. So they'll start to orient themselves about what to expect coming in and kind of the expectations for coming into the building and going throughout their day. So again, parents, you can stop the video here, or you can continue to watch for more details. What to expect and plan for hybrid learning coming into the building. So when you get off the bus, you're going to come through. Here's the aux gym over here. Here's the main gym over here. If you're a 6th or 7th grader, you're taking a right and going toward the commons area in the aux gym area. If you're an 8th grader, you're taking a left and going to the main gym area. We'll have students line up and socially distance lined up, but I'm gonna back up here. But as students do come to the building, they'll show their attestation green check, get a little dab of hand sanitizer and be able to go right in. If they have not and they need to self-attest, they'll have a temperature check and they'll be asked some questions. We want to discourage self-attestation, but if students do have to self-attest, we will usually follow up with parents and let them know we had to self-attest for the student today, but we really want to prioritize parent attestation. So again, if the student needs to self-attest, they'll have a temp check. They'll be asked some questions to make sure that they have no symptoms, and then they will be allowed into the building. If they don't pass the attestation, then they're not able to come into the commons areas of the building. We'll have to call home to get a parent pickup at that time. There will be supervisors who are stationed both at the commons area and the main gym, and they'll be welcoming students and helping them through the process. And so that if a student does have a question, we'll be able to help them through. But yeah, that's what we're looking for. We are looking for that. We are looking for that green check right there on the phone if students are coming through with the phone. If they don't have the green check, but they've completed the attestation, we're looking on our list. If they haven't completed the attestation, our parent has not, then we do a self-attestation process. After coming to the building, there's some expectations for hallways, restrooms, and commons areas. This is a map of the building. Parents will receive this in the letter, and you'll be able to look at your schedule and where each class is located in the building. So be looking for that. But even though 8th graders are entering the front of the gym, when it's time to go to class, they'll be directed to exit out the back of the gym, so they're not mixing in with students who are coming in, the parent drop-off, who haven't been attested yet. It'll be a staggered release, starting with 6th graders by class to go to class, and then 7th graders by class, and then 8th graders by class to go to class. First week of school, teachers will come and pick up their classes, their first or fourth period classes, their first period of the day, and walk them down so that students will, if they don't know where the classes is, won't need to know that first class, and the teachers will walk them down and then can help them navigate the rest of the way. But use the map and use the schedule and kind of go through and look, if you don't know the building very well, where each of your classes is located. This is the daily schedule. It looks very similar to the current schedule, except there are 3 lunches during period 2 and period 5 on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Wednesday kind of remains the asynchronous day as it is now. The advisory will be in first or fourth period class. They'll access their advisory teachers through those classes, and the main reason for that is just to reduce another transition during the day. Since advisory is only 15 minutes long, we didn't want to have another transition during the day, so they'll access that from periods 1 and period 4, and then they'll attend lunch. It's typically going to be first lunch will be for all 6th graders at 10:15 to 10:45. Second lunch will be for 7th graders, 10:55 to 11:25. Third lunch will be for 8th graders, 11:35 to 12:05. This will be from March 1st until the last day of school on June 16th. The lunchroom will be set up with chairs that are socially distanced. This is to be able to fit the number of students we need to fit for each lunch, and also to maintain safety regulations and guidelines. We've seen a couple of middle schools do this really successfully, even though it seems weird to not have tables. Students will have a sack lunch and then have a tray, a paper tray that they'll be able to use kind of to put on their laps to be able to eat there in the commons area. Students in the hallway will be advised to, they're not going to line up outside of every class, but if they go to class and they see kind of a bottleneck at the door there, we'd ask them to kind of socially distance and wait until students are in front of them are going into class. What that will look like will be here. And as they go in, they're getting, each classroom has hand sanitizer stations, so that students can get hand sanitizer as they go in. And those stations look like they're on the left. If there is a classroom or area that doesn't have a hand sanitizing station, they will have hand sanitizer available. But again, students are welcome to bring their own hand sanitizer, but we are asking students to get hand sanitizer as they come into each of their classes. At the bathrooms, we do have bathrooms, a bathroom at the end of each hallway and in the commons area and in the main gym. And we do have student bathrooms in the office area. So we are asking one at a time for the bathrooms, so that if students go to the restroom and they see that another student is in there, that they wait outside until the student is finished before going in. And so that's for both the boys and the girls' bathrooms. Students don't necessarily need to stand right on the sticker there. This one's having a little trouble playing. Okay. You see the sticker down here that kind of reminds students to social distance. Students can kind of stand to the side of that or move to the side of that as students are coming out of the restroom. So classrooms and student exit, what to expect for classrooms and student exit. You will see different classroom setups with tables or with desks, but all of them will have probably no more tops of 15 or 16 students in the class. Each of them will be socially distanced, seated at least 6 feet apart from each other. If you're in the A group and you're in-person days on Monday and Tuesday, you will be doing simultaneous instruction or instruction learning at the same time as students in the B group who are at home online for at least part of the period. And then the other part of the class period, the teacher may work directly with only those students who are in person, and vice versa when the B group's in, the A group will be zooming in from home as well. And then the 100% online students will be zooming in, 100% of the time, of course. We do want to remind you that you will be using your Chromebooks in class for a lot of the time. There'll be some times when teachers may ask, especially when you're teachers are just working with the in-class group, that they ask you to put your Chromebook away, and they do something that's not on the Chromebook, but a large percentage of the time, students will be using their Chromebook in class. We want to remind you to bring a water bottle. Again, the water fountains will be closed. We do have water bottle filling stations where students will be able to fill their water bottles. So please have your student bring a refillable water bottle. There will be some class periods, not a lot, but some class periods where if we have an overflow, we weren't able to balance out the classes just right, where there's no more than 15 or 16 students socially distanced in a class, where we may have an overflow. So if we have one or two students who during that period have to go to the library and access the learning from their Chromebooks, they can do that. However, if that is the case, they will only have to do that maybe once over the course of the next 3 months of school, because there will be a rotation. And most classes, we won't have a lot of overflow, if any, but we do have an overflow area that we just need to have just logistically to make sure that we can accommodate safety regulations for all classrooms and for all students. And that overflow area will be in the library. At the end of the day, students will exit at the end of their hallways or the nearest exits that's closest to the back of the school if they're riding the bus. And they'll be lined up to get on the bus, socially distanced, lined up. Buses will be there right at 2 o'clock, so students will need to come right out of class and go to the buses. There will be supervision out there, adult supervision, to help students find the right bus and to help manage them, to help get them home safely. If students are getting picked up, they'll go to the front of the building and go out the front of the building to be picked up in the front area. If you have questions that are not answered in this video, there's a lot of information, a lot of detail at the Yum Community Schools website, the Safe Start to Success, more information about the return to in-person learning and hybrid learning. So please visit that website, and you can find a lot of details and information that we couldn't include in this video. If you do have specific questions for me or for RMS, feel free to call our office at 360-458-1100 or to email me directly. And my email address is there, or you can find it on our website. I want to thank you for watching this video today. We are really excited about coming back to hybrid learning. And we're going to do our very best, and we're working very hard to make sure that we're keeping everybody safe, that we're creating great learning experiences for students who will be both in person and students who will remain 100% online. We're really looking forward to having a great March start to March. March 1st is the target date for hybrid learning. We're looking forward to seeing all of you then. We will show this video to students in different segments, but let us know if you have questions. Give us a call or shoot us an email. Thank you.